welcome back to our brand new YouTube channel. We're standing outside my favourite place in Malta, Arms. Arms is your billing company. They are the ones responsible for Form H, or the lack of. After the last couple of videos that we did, most of, in fact all of the questions have been regarding Form H. I don't know what to tell you anymore. If your landlord refuses to give you Form H, walk away. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of properties out there to rent, and I suspect they are now starting to come down in price. Be very aware of that. I have seen the prices start to take a little drop. So now, here, Arms. What happens when you come to Arms and say to them, my landlord refuses to sign Form H for me? What they will tell you is, it's nothing to do with them. Well, I've got big bad news. It's got a whole lot to do with them. This is the dreaded Form H. This is the statement signed by the landlord that gives status to the property that you are renting. If it's a domestic property, it's registered as a domestic property. If it's residential property, which remember is the cheaper rate, then this form has to be filled in truthfully. If you have a look at Form H on the second page, you will find some smart person has put into the small print that if you give an untruthful statement on this form, you could be liable to criminal prosecution. Okay, so let's go back again. Why do Arms refuse to take any sort of responsibility for you as a tenant being refused Form H? Your landlord is not profiting in this instance from the lack of Form H. Well, he might be if he's perhaps not telling the taxman that he's renting. Very possibly. But when it comes to the utilities and the lack of Form H, he is not profiting. Guess who's profiting? Arms. Any Malta. They're the people profiting from the domestic rate. So when are they going to start taking responsibility when I have tenants, and so many tenants in the last 3 weeks, who said, Patricia, we've been ripped off for 2 years, how can we get our money back? You can try asking Arms for redress, but that won't wash. You can't get it back from your landlord. He will just point blank refuse, and if you've got an extortionate bill, the likelihood is that he's going to retain your deposit to pay for this extortionate bill. What the landlords don't understand is, if they signed Form H, the bills would be less extortionate, and tenants would maybe be able to afford water and electricity. Arms. I seriously hope you're listening, because you are now going to have to start with payback. This is wrong. You say it's nothing to do with you. Form H is nothing to do with you. You say that the landlord refusing to give Form H is nothing to do with you. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are wrong. End of. You are wrong. And these people who have been denied Form H for goodness knows how many years are looking to be compensated. Let me know what you think.
Anything to add you can recall?
No, I'm just wondering why you haven't brought me a cup of tea though.
I had to run for them anyway, so...
Maybe our new CEO would like to meet me. Look, you've got your own parking space. Come and meet me and tell me what you're going to do about this Form H debacle. Because what you've done is wrong. You know it, I know it. There should be no dual tariff.
Where are we going, Patricia?
Right, well, we've just left Arms, where the security guards were given something to do. And we're now on our way to the brand new offices of Identity Malta. That is, if you can find it. And of course, people are going to be watching this video and saying, you're going the wrong way. Oh, look, is this it?
It is. We found it.
Boom, boom.
So here we are. still on construction though.
Huh?
Still on construction.
Let me see if I can find a better. Okay, so we found it, and we have the brand new Identity Malta building. There doesn't seem a lot of space for queuing, so we can only hope that this is a good move from taking some of the operations from Evans Building to Masida. It's actually hop, skip and jump from Masida, so it's worked out well. The reason that we're here specifically this week, and I actually wanted to cover it last week, but things just didn't happen.
Sorry. Sorry.
I was absolutely horrified when I read the story in the Malta Times regarding the doctor, the non-EU anaesthetist, who had basically been told that he wasn't earning enough money in this country to keep his family here. That is lunacy. A doctor, an anaesthetist, say that word. Anaesthetist. Yeah. Anyways, this guy who's actually responsible for you while you are asleep having an operation can't afford to live in Malta with his family, with his children. What happened to this country needing foreign workers? I don't understand it. The minimum wage in Malta is dire. We know it's dire. But the minimum wage in Malta is 760 euros a month. Just under 10,000. In fact, no, it's just over 9,000 a month. 9,000 euros a month. This guy, this doctor, is being asked for almost minimum monthly wage over and above what he's now earning to keep his family and children here. That seriously needs looked at. The same week, we get another headline, and again, Times Malta. You can stay. You need to send your children home. I really need to know the story behind this, because I do not believe that anybody in this country could turn round and say to a mother and father, you can stay, but your children have to leave. Is that going to happen to all third country nationals? Does it happen to all third country nationals? I know for a fact that EU nationals who are self-sufficient have to show a certain income so as they're not a burden on the state. And please, I totally accept that. Do not come to Malta if you're going to be a burden on the state. Do not come to Malta on a whim thinking this is the land of milk and honey. Malta is not the land of milk and honey. You will work damned hard to earn your living here, more so if you're on minimum wage. Most of the tenants that I have are on minimum wage, and they're struggling. They are struggling big time. They are sometimes working 2 jobs. Their money is going nowhere. When you take into the equation, out of your budget has to go the rent. Childcare. Not everybody can get childcare. The free childcare I'm talking. Not everybody can get free childcare. There are lots of hoops to jump through for that, and God forbid you be a single parent. This has to stop. This has to change. To all of our friends out there, if you need help, come to me. I will do my level best to help you out here. This doctor earns 22,645 a year, which is below the amount required for non-EU nationals to maintain 2 family members in the country. Now, if that is accurate, how in the name of the wee man are Maltese nationals meant to raise and budget their families on less than €10,000? Let's do a little bit of catch up. We've been to ARMS. There is really not a whole lot more I can say about Form H. I know that next week my mailbox and my messages and my emails will be absolutely full of Form H. But we've done it into the ground. The second question after ID Malta and all the issues that they have there comes down to the new rent regulations. Here it is in a nutshell. The rent regulations are basically what the good landlords have been doing all along, okay? And there are way more good landlords in Malta than there are ones that are not just as honest as they perhaps should be. So what does it mean to you? Come January 2020, every rental property has to be registered. The landlord will register it, hopefully. If the landlord doesn't register it, then the tenant has the right to go and register. And I'm not quite as happy about this little bit, but if the tenant has to go and register the property because the landlord refuses to do so, then the tenant has the right to deduct that amount of money from the rent. That is not something you ever seriously want to get into. It just causes angst. You want to get on with your landlord, so for goodness sakes, talk first before you go that way. So, every rental property has to be registered. Simple, dead easy, okay? Has to be registered within 30 days. Dead simple again. There will be a cost. Everything in Malta that is brought about to what's the word? What's the word? Everything in Malta that is thought up by the government comes at a cost. Even the new rent regs. These poor landlords who have been doing everything properly for the past goodness knows how many decades are now going to get hit by hopefully a minimal charge to register their contract. Every property your landlord owns, rents, has to be on an individual registration. Means nothing to tenants. The good thing about these rent regs is that your landlord cannot refuse to give you Form H. Victory. This is a victory. How ARMS are going to deal with this, going back to our visit to ARMS this morning, how ARMS are going to deal with this when right now if you go to ARMS and say you don't have Form H, they're not interested. So what happens in January when you go to ARMS and tell them my landlord refuses to give me Form H? Are they all of a sudden going to be interested? Who knows? Who knows? We have to deal with that one when it comes to it. The biggest concern for landlords in this is seemingly to do with the housing authority being allowed or being given authority to come into your premises at any time to inspect. Please, please do not overread this. The housing authority, the powers that be in Malta, have always had the ability to spot check premises. Look at all the premises with the migrants. That authority has always been there. They're not coming in to say, oh well, this place isn't fit for rental, or they're not. They're coming in to check whether the place is rented. If your property is listed as registered, there are no worries. Don't overthink that paragraph in the rent regs. When it comes to mould, when it comes to damp, when it comes to paint peeling off the roof, the rent regs are actually going to cover you. You will be able to go to a board and explain the situation, and the board will deal with it. No longer can landlords beat us over the heads with the stick of, you will hear from my lawyer. No longer will landlords be able to say, I will see you in court, because no longer will it cost tenants an arm and leg to take a landlord to court who's refusing to give back your deposit. Now, unfortunately, the big unfortunate about these new rent regs is there's still no third-party deposit scheme, no third-party escrow. So the landlord is still going to hold that deposit, but in the near future, there will be an adjudication panel who will then hear the landlord's tale, the tenant's tale, and they will make a decision. So the days of the landlord beating you over the head with a stick saying, I'll take you to court, they're done. It's gone, it's out of here, and it needed to be done. Now, if you're just about to rent a property, make sure your agent knows what they're talking about, because right now, I have found very, very few agents that know anything about the rent regulations. I personally have to say I'm not 100% sure if they're actually going to come in January 2020. We're rocketing towards the end of October and nobody seems to know anything. Landlords are getting themselves in a panic. They're trying to end contracts at the end of this year so they can start afresh with a new contract next year. You can't do that because you are then breaching the contract. Sip of my coffee. Come home and find that the locks have been changed. This is a nonsense, and I have learned so much from the lawyers who are associated or help this group out. If the landlord evicts you without going through court, that is what is known as a pretended right. Now, it's kind of unfortunate that when you turn up at the police station to say that your landlord has locked you out, the police do not know of this code, and I think it's in the civil code. I'm not sure where it comes from, but he cannot just get up one morning and decide, oh, I can get more for this place, these people are leaving. You can't do that. But the thing is, and I've noticed this over the last 2 weeks where we've been getting all of these messages and all of these texts and phone calls. People, you have to help yourself. I had a situation in Sleema 2 weeks ago with a landlord who is being naughty. End of story, he is being naughty. They come to me, they give me the tale of woe, they tell me, what do I do, what can I do? Let me speak to the landlord, I'll try and sort it out. Please don't speak to the landlord, he'll throw me out. Only my children think I'm a witch. Well, no, that might not be true. Only my children believe I have magical powers. I can't do this without your help. And it's so wrong of you to come to me and give me a whole story and then say, sort it out, but we can't support you. Do I look like Harry Potter? You can laugh, but they do. They do.
Where's your magic wand?
My magic wand is in my kitchen drawer at home, and my children are terrified of it. And that's fine, but when adults start believing that I've got a magic wand... Okay, I think you've heard enough from me today, and I have a nice hot cup of coffee waiting for me. Thank you for watching. I hope it hasn't been too long. As per usual, if you have questions, if there's anything you need my help to attempt to sort out without a magic wand, please, the email address is at the bottom of this link, and there's also the PayPal account. And can I just say one thing on the PayPal account? We do not have a never-ending pit. When these monies come into PayPal, they are used to help you get a lawyer's letter, to start the ball rolling with a legal proceeding, which hopefully won't be needed. But if you can afford to just give a little bit to help other people, instead of it coming out of my pocket all the time, we would be really grateful. Thanks, and we will see you next time.